guys, Alexa the Alchemy here today to do your weekly card reading. It is currently November 20th, so we are going to be doing a reading for this week. I will be utilizing an oracle card deck today. It's called the Crystal Spirits deck. If you've never done a pull with me before, fear not, it's a very gentle and typically uplifting deck. So I'm gonna start out with Aries, work my way through all of the signs. I recommend that you listen to your big three, so your sun, your moon, and your rising. There is information below on how to find your big three in case you are interested. I do these readings every single week, so please make sure that you press subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you can be notified every single week when I release a new one. And with that all said, let's go ahead and get on into the reading. So starting with Aries, I pulled the card of Aqua or Quartz, and I pulled this card in reverse. For those of you who have not done a card reading with me before or are not super familiar, generally speaking, when you pull a card in reverse, it is indicative that you need to turn inwards, maybe look within. It might be highlighting some shadow aspects or some aspects of your personality or your life that might be a little bit challenging. Maybe you have a little bit of resistance to them. So in general, when I pull reverse, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it might be something that you have a little bit more of attention with, or maybe applying to you and asking you to stop looking at other people as the problem and start looking within it yourself to see how you can shift. The key message with Aqua or Quartz is a very almost like, I almost want to say majestic or mystical. It's very much like tapping back into the sense of wonder and awe, almost like a childlike thing. This card is a message for you that it is important right now in this chapter, and especially in this week, to refrain from relying heavily on cynicism and worry to get you through. There is good and bad in everything, and you have the capacity to hyperfixate on the negatives, but you also have the capacity to look at the positives and to look at the mystery, the curiosity, the excitement, the unknown, and see that as a really beautiful thing. The unknown is typically very terrifying for most people, so this can be really hard. However, this card is definitely an encouragement that right now in this chapter, whatever it is that you're going through, that perspective might be very beneficial for you. Another message that came through with this card, and I will read this one verbatim, it said, believe in the power of love to find you anywhere, no matter how dark the hour. So if you are in a really doubtful situation right now, or you're feeling like, I mean, we are in the fall season, so maybe there's a little bit of seasonal depression or just kind of this ughness, there is an encouragement here to have a little bit of faith in the possibilities that can unfold, and not necessarily you don't necessarily need certainty to have comfort. Also, again, because this card was pulled in reverse, there is definitely a level of your relationship to yourself that you might be asked and encouraged to look at. Specifically, your relationship to yourself as being enough. The key theme of enoughness is really, really big in this reading, but with this card especially, this may apply in your romantic situations, your personal relationships, your family relationship. This could also apply in work. Maybe there's a little bit of imposter syndrome going on right now, or a little bit of a challenge with, I'm getting like feeling like you need to prove yourself, or needing to prove yourself to your coworkers or to your boss or to your team or whatever it is right now. There's a level of you needing to not rely on the world around you to give you the validation that it is that you need, and instead, from the lens of a child, being able to tap into that from a very honest and authentic place. I think this might be very important for you in this upcoming week. So main message for all of my Aries placements, I highly recommend that this week you have a little bit of focus on belief, your identity with belief and faith in the things that are to come, and also belief and faith in yourself and what you are capable of, as well as what the world is capable of. All right, moving into Taurus. All of my Taurus suns, moons, and risings, I pulled for you the card of Lemurian Quartz. So this card is stunning. I love this one. I love the graphics on it. And I also get a very strong, almost like Sagittarian vibe with this. And if the astrology stuff or the crystals is too much, just listen to the message. But the main message with this one is big picture thinking, vision, being able to see the broader scope of life and that which surrounds you. Right now, you are being encouraged to imagine something bigger and better than what you currently have or what you are currently dreaming towards. So if you're in a situation, I know we're coming towards the end of the year, where you're starting to think about your intentions for the upcoming year, the next quarter, whatever it may be. Right now, this is a very big encouragement for you to dream big. And I think a lot of that is designed to bring you to a place where you are able to re-recognize your power as a co-creator, if you will. I think a lot of times we can put limitations on ourselves just because we don't believe that we are capable of something, or maybe we think that something is just too far out for us, but we never believe in ourselves because we never actually try to achieve that. And if you don't try, you will never know. So right now, yeah, there's this huge freedom that you have to dream big. This might also apply to a situation which has recently occurred or is occurring or will occur this week that will grant you a little bit more freedom to dream big. And if this feels resonant for you, whether or not this experience or whatever you want to call it was or is pleasant in nature, what you're being encouraged to do with that opportunity right now is to see it as just that, to see it as an opportunity and to allow yourself the freedom to dream big, even if it's not something that you want to move forward on, even if it's not something that you know if you want to do. The process of conceptualizing what you're capable of and feeling into what you're capable of and really stepping into that co-creative power is going to be monumental for you this week. My dear Taurus, there is also another message that came with this card. If this last piece resonated with you more on the realm of something was challenging that is bringing you to this point, just keep in mind that any struggles that you have in your life are essentially leading you to success through lived experience. Maybe you're going to stumble across some new allies that can be helpful for you in what you're doing. If you're in a situation right now where you're not really sure what the vision is that you would like to create, I'm getting team, if you're creating something for your team, you're not really sure what this entails. If the vision hasn't already been made clear to you, then this is a sign that it is likely that this will become clear to you very, very soon. And the vision will be quite a powerful one, so just be ready for that when it comes. And finally, with this card comes a message that you don't have to humble yourself out of a fake sense of modesty. The word teams, again, came through really, really strongly with this card. So maybe if there's a team that you're working with right now and you're feeling like you have to sort of like hide different aspects of yourself or shelter your vision, your possibilities. Right now, this card again is an encouragement for you to go big, whether that means sharing it with the world, sharing these great ideas, opening up the conversation about these things, especially if it's something that you're really secretly proud of, but you're afraid that it may be too big for the people around you or too bold for them. There is an encouragement for you right now, my dear Taurus, to step a little bit more into the bold side of yourself and to push this idea forward. Because again, this is very big picture thinking, on the grand scheme of things. If what you're saying seems like it's so super outlandish or a crazy thought, if you look at the big picture of things, is it really that insane? And the answer is probably no. So unlock the infinite possibilities around you by stepping into your co-creative power and allowing yourself to imagine something bigger and better than what you thought was going to be. Moving into the next card, I have pulled for my dear Geminis the card of Numite. I pulled this card in reverse. Any card that is pulled in reverse is typically a reflection of something that maybe you need to look at within yourself. Instead of projecting it out onto the world around you, it may be highlighting a little bit of a shadow, if you will, or something that you might have struggled with. So my dear Geminis, right now, the focus of your week is going to have a lot to do with you, your inner self. Numite is very strongly aligned with self-mastery. So this level of this inner power that comes from almost like recovering a sense of self. Like if you feel like you've lost your identity or maybe, in a relationship, you kind of have lost sight of where you end and a partner begins or began. And there's this sort of like lost sense of self, or maybe your identity has felt kind of closed off or shy or whatever it may be. There's a piece of you right now that might be feeling kind of discouraged, and if it's not right now, maybe it will this week. And the reminder for you, my dear Geminis, is to give yourself enough grace to understand how far you have already come. And this understanding of how far you have come and where you are is a part of the process of self-mastery. A lot of the times we as humans, we're very, very good at looking for problems. We're very, very good at looking at the bad. And this definitely serves us in the progressive nature. However, if we are hyper fixating on that, it takes away from what we have already accomplished or what we have already achieved. And sometimes this can cause us to overlook the good that is present in our lives, whether that is in our love lives, our personal lives, our work lives, our homes, our relationships. So if there's a piece of you that is constantly barraging your brain saying it's not enough, what I'm doing is not enough, it will never be enough. Right now, you are being encouraged to make peace with that side of yourself and to have a level of understanding that this is the process of developing self-mastery. It is not an overnight thing. It does not happen right away. Self-mastery is a lifelong process. And this card tells me that a lot of you may be underestimating how far it is that you have actually come. And if this is working more with belief systems, let's say you are feeling like you're struggling with your beliefs, you're feeling like, oh, I always believe the worst things, or my belief systems are getting in the way of my ability to manifest or to have the life that I want, etc. Just know, again, the process of self-mastery, you are methodically working to remove those fears that you may have about your life, about abundance, about what you deserve. This card comes with the phrase abundance within, abundance without, which means that the relationship you have to yourself is going to be the determinant of the relationship that you have to the world around you and to your own life. Being pulled in reverse, this is asking you to look at yourself if there is a level of not enoughness that you are feeling is taking over your life. My sweet Geminis, give yourself a little bit of grace so that you can continue feeling motivated as you're moving forward. Also, for anyone who feels like this is applying more to your love or romantic life, understand that building trust and building intimacy is a thing that takes time. And as with all things in life, practice and repetition is what's going to lead to the best results. So right now, you can look at your life on the grand scheme of things and say that you are practicing, you are not in the middle of the performance, and that is absolutely okay because this is the process of cultivating mastery. My dear lovely Cancers, I pulled for you the card of Citrine. This card is a really fucking fun card. This card has everything to do with joyful expression, exuberance, letting go of any and all negativity that stands in the way of you experiencing and fully fucking feeling that joy. Your encouragement this week, my dear Cancers, is to tap into your playful side. If you're trying to figure out how to balance out your life and your priorities right now, I think the encouragement for you this week is to focus on bringing things into your space that bring you a sense of joy and a sense of laughter. Something that a lot of people forget is that it is actually very important work for the world and for other people when they get to see you smiling. Like, it is a gift for the people around you to see you happy. Not that this is something that you want to be doing for the sake of other people, but sometimes we can have this mentality or this belief system that says like it's selfish to be happy, it's selfish to enjoy your life, yada yada huda yada. And if that is a belief system that you have been carrying, my dear, your encouragement this week is to fully step into your joy and see the way that it positively impacts the world around you. Also, if you're the type of person where you are all work, work, work and no play, and you're feeling like you're being very productive in that regard, yes, you may be getting a lot done, but it is also a part of our work, our life's work as humans, to play and to enjoy our lives. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to completely stop any sense of productivity. You can incorporate this into your daily life. See if there's ways that you can weave play into what you were doing, either in the office or with your coworkers. One of the things that I love about Citrine is that it reminds us that building foundations through love and trust doesn't have to be this like serious endeavor. Like, it can be one of the most playful things that we do. And there is a huge encouragement anytime this card is pulled to spend some time, spend some quality time with the people that you are surrounding yourselves with. Like, spend time together and have some fucking fun, whether this is with your family, whether this is with your coworkers or the people that you are working with. If it's a romantic partner, you know, you can look at your sex life, adding a little bit more fun and play into that. Or even just your day-to-day, finding more playful, fun, and lighthearted things to do. Because when you do that, you step into a different energy, and a lot of the times that actually harbors a level of creativity that in the long run is going to be very beneficial for you. So to anyone who has Cancer placements in their chart, your encouragement this week is to take action from an enthusiastic and heart-centered place. And if that means that you get to have a little bit more fun, do something a little bit more playful, at the very least, you know, watch some stand-up comedy, do something that brings a smile to your face, then by gosh, by golly, that's probably what you should do. So I highly recommend that you lean into that playful, fun energy and see what it brings up for you this week. Next up, we are moving into Leos. My dear Leos, Leo suns, moons, and rising. I pulled for you one of my absolute favorite cards, the card of Orange Calcite. Orange Calcite is this is the epitome of creativity, the epitome of birthing something new. This card is always an encouragement to incorporate more sensuality and potentially more sexuality into your life. This is a very fertile time for you, and I don't necessarily mean that in the organ system way. I mean that in a creative energy way. It can be that way, sure. there's definitely a possibility that if that's something that you're looking at, this might be a great week. But overall, if that doesn't apply to you, this creative energy is not just exclusive to procreation. Creative energy can come through in your work, it can come through in your projects, in your dreams, in your writings, in your poetry, in your art. Whatever the hell it is that you're focusing your energy on right now, my dear Leos, please, please, for me and for yourself mostly, harness that creative energy that you have flowing through you, because my God, it is there. So being playful and willing to think outside the box, re-engineer the way that you're doing things, re-engineer the perspective that you have, whether this relates to work or other, any issue that seems particularly prevalent to you or any topic that's really coming to the forefront for you either now or throughout the course of this week, your encouragement is to step into your own power by putting old patterns to rest and allowing yourself to think creatively about how you want to be doing things. Your capacity to let go of old ways of doing things is really, really powerful, so please take advantage of that shit, because that is amazing. Also, whenever this card is pulled, especially as it relates to financial matters or matters of security and stability, if you feel like you're struggling to look at a topic, think about how you can think about it differently. Maybe you've always thought about affluence in one specific way, or you've always had a certain mentality or approach to your finances, and that way of thinking may be kind of outdated and may not serve you. And right now, your capacity to say, how can I shift this? How can I shift this lens? Is going to be very strong. Do you need to delegate? Do you need to pay someone to do the things that you don't actually want to do so you can focus on the things that you're gifted in? Maybe you need to take a step back and say, okay, I'm gonna re-engineer this entire thing, this entire project, this entire aspect of it. One of my favorite things that has popped into my mind recently, instead of saying things like, how can I spend less money? How can I save more money? You can shift the narrative to, how can I make more money? How can I bring more money in? It's not saying that like the problem, if you will, doesn't exist or that your approach is wrong. It's just saying, is there a completely different way of looking at this that actually might serve my creative process and encourage me to think creatively about how I want to deal with the situation? So my fiery Leos, anything that you look at, any problem that comes up, say, how can I think outside the box and how can I view this differently? Okay, Virgos, moving into your card, I pulled for you the card of Dumortierite. I love this one. All of my freaking Capricorn type A personality loves this card. Your encouragement for this week is to get in line with your sense of orderliness. Anytime I pull this card, the encouragement that I get and the thing that helps me the most is a level of planning, organization, writing things down, creating lists, clearing clutter, just getting fucking organized for what you have ahead. If you have things that are overwhelming you, projects, etc., your mission for this week is to get clear-headed, starting with clearing your space, clearing your mind, clearing everything, and creating a sense of organization so that you can actually thrive. One thing I love about this card is that it reminds us that planning is very important. Even if things don't go according to plan, even if we don't follow through with them, in that process of planning, we learn so much. We learn about what we value, we can learn about what we're interested in. If it brings us to a place where we do research, maybe we find out things that we did not know. So right now, really stepping into that capacity that you have for mental discipline is going to be sensationally beneficial for you. And you are a Virgo, or you have some Virgo energy in your chart, so this should not feel like pulling teeth. There is a piece of you that may actually feel a deep sense of like personal satisfaction in doing this. So right now, make lists about what's important to you, what you value, and prioritize the things that you value as opposed to the things that you don't. Not really sure where you want to go, don't know what direction to take, write it all down. Pros and cons lists, journaling. Your mental discipline is enhanced as fuck this week, so take advantage of that. If I could give you one encouragement for the entire week, it would be to commit yourself to organizing your ideas and organizing your life. If you feel like your love life, personal life, family life is a little bit more pertinent for you this week, then maybe looking at what your values are within those systems. If business related stuff is coming up for you right now, or if that is the top of mind, my encouragement for you is to create lists and structures so that you can get the work done that you need to get done, be productive with it without neglecting your own personal life and your own personal values. I have yet to meet a person who, when you ask them about their values, only says work. A big challenge of life is learning how to balance the things that are important to us. So if you are struggling with this, write some shit down to get clear about what it is that you want to be making a top priority. in the planning, we learn so much, even if the things don't go according to plan. So as you are writing down what your priorities are, your values, how you want to prioritize your time this week, even if none of that fucking happens the way that you plan it to, what matters is that it's going to show you things about yourself that maybe you need to know or focus on. Finally, with this card, something a little bit more on the encouraging side when it comes to financial stability and financial situations. If you're feeling lost, scared, and scattered, a big message with this card is that your finances are not out of control simply because you don't have certainty about what's going on. Like, just because you don't know doesn't mean you don't have it covered. So if uncertainty is getting in the way of you feeling like you are successful, at peace, taken care of, etc., just a friendly reminder to you, my lovely Virgos, your current financial situation is not the only thing that is reflecting what you are capable of. So if you've been really hard on yourself for this, or you haven't been looking at your finances, or you're avoiding bookkeeping, or kind of doing something in the realm of like, nah, I don't want to look at it because you're afraid of the numbers, or you're afraid of what it's going to show you, have some strength, have some courage, have some bravery to really look at those things this week and know that this is where the process starts. That's going to bring you the clarity that you need so you can have the faith in yourself that you need to build wealth and abundance moving forward. So my lovely Virgos, do something that's going to make you feel like you and your life are a little bit more organized this week. All right, shifting into the energy of Libras for anyone who has a Libra sun, moon, or rising placement. I pulled for you the card of Malachite in reverse. Again, any card in reverse is typically going to be indicative of something you need to look at more within yourself, or it may be highlighting something that is maybe your shadow or something you're resisting, don't necessarily want to look at. So if this card feels a little bit challenging for you, you're ready for it and enjoy. The card of Malachite is a very, very strong message of the importance of combining your intuition and your logical mind. I love this card because I kind of feel like it's almost highlighting the importance of yin and yang. If we live completely ruled based off of emotion and intuition, we use no logic, we're probably gonna have some struggles. If we live our life completely based off of our logic and we never pay attention to our emotions, we never listen to them, we gaslight ourselves for them, whatever, probably gonna have some issues there too. And I'm not saying when you balance them, you're not gonna have issues, but generally speaking, if you want a balanced, fulfilling life, you're going to need to tap into both at different times or both at the same time. Whenever this card is pulled, it is an acknowledgement of the energy of clarity and clear thinking, whether this is something that you want to attain and you desperately are needing, it is coming to you, or if it's something that you have just stepped into and you are right now in the process of integrating your intuition with your logical, critical thinking skills. A few things to note with this card. One, applying and using logic is not the same as unproductive rumination. So if you are thinking and rethinking and hashing and rehashing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, that's not necessarily the same thing as applying logic to a situation. There's a difference between thinking and overthinking. So if you feel like you are moving into the latter, this is a kind, friendly, loving, gentle reminder that maybe working with some of the emotions there might be beneficial. A lot of the times we overthink things because we're trying to think ourselves out of feeling something. So when this card comes up, it is again an encouragement to have both the thinking and the feeling realm addressed. Now, with that being said, not everything needs to be justified. So this is big point number 2. Sometimes when you think that you know something, or you feel that you know something, like, not like, oh, I know it, cognitively, like, oh, I know it deep in my heart, even though I don't like that shit, or I don't know, like, if you feel really deep down that you know something, you don't necessarily need to justify it or to justify yourself for that knowing to be valid. With this card, I also get a really strong ping that there's an importance in something that has to do with trust, whether it's trust of a family member, a friend. Family member and friend are coming through really strong. Relationship, an investor, someone that you're working with. Perhaps there is a person or a situation that maybe has been deceitful to you in the past, and your logical mind will tell you this is not trustworthy because it wasn't in the past. But maybe your emotional body is saying this is trustworthy and I can move forward with this even though in the past, things didn't go super well. On the flip side of that, maybe there is a person and you don't understand why, but there's some piece of you that's like, I just don't trust this. Like, I just don't trust this situation. I don't trust you. I don't trust anything about this. But you're constantly trying to justify yourself with logic and saying, oh, but you've this has never happened before, or this is the way you've shown up, or oh, well, you apologize and you said you never do it again, and blah, 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 blah. If one of these is resonating with you, I think you know who you are. If at a deep, deep level, you do not trust this person, situation, thing, etc., you're being very much encouraged to listen to that right now. And also to acknowledge that sometimes the things that you believe don't necessarily mean that they're the actual truth either. Whether or not you trust them, that's different than them being trustworthy. Even if you believe in your heart of hearts something to be true, let's say you believe that someone is not trustworthy or a situation is not trustworthy. For you in your reality, if you don't trust someone or something and you move forward with that, regardless of whether or not they're trustworthy, your relationship to that thing is one of distrust. So acknowledging if that's the energy that you're carrying into something and carrying through something, it is likely and honestly kind of probable that that may be reflected back to you until or unless your actual genuine deep down belief changes. So again, being pulled in reverse, if you are in a situation where you're like, I don't like you, I don't trust you, meh, 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 just keep in mind that your relationship to that external world is not the primary focus right now. Your primary focus is your relationship to yourself, to your life, to your position, your situation. I fucking hate these flies. So again, do not blame the world around you for the way that you feel, but if you are feeling a certain way and feeling it very strongly, I highly recommend for you this week that you take that into account. So honor your emotions, honor your intellect, and use the both of them to help you make a decision this week, my dear Libras, and that might help you to get to a place where you feel a good sense of balance. And you're a Libra, so we know you love balance. Beautiful. Moving on to Scorpio. Ah, my lovely Scorpios. I love the card I pulled for you. I pulled, in reverse, Seraphos Green Quartz. This card is all about life on life's terms. Joie de vivre. Life just doing whatever the fuck it wants and you're kind of there and you're along for the ride. The encouragement with this card, anytime and every time I pull it, is to step into your divine feminine, if you will, to step into a state of acceptance of your place in the world right now, your mission in this life, the way that things are. Step into a state of acceptance, my dear. It will make this road a little bit less rocky and it will make things feel like they make so much more sense. Your encouragement for this week is to surrender to each and every moment exactly the way that it is. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect, doesn't matter if it's uncomfortable, surrender to it and your heart will open. In this process, you can release what doesn't serve you, you can release what needs to be left behind you, you can release all the baggage. We've got holidays coming up, so if you got family stuff, surrender to the way that things are exactly as they are in each and every single moment, and I can promise you that if you genuinely allow yourself to open up to the reality of the way that things are, you will find a way to alchemize them. This can be really uncomfortable if you have a hard relationship with your family or a tense one, or you feel like, oh, if I really open myself up to my true reality, I'm gonna cry. That's probably a good thing. You're probably gonna be working through some emotions that you need to fucking work through. So this week, really focus on the acceptance of life as it is. If you're feeling discouraged, like things are tough, things are challenging, you don't really know where to go from here, you're afraid, you're having all these intense emotions that are really uncomfortable, the joy about this card is that it's an encouragement that something fucking awesome is on its way to you. Like something amazing is probably awaiting, but until you can find a way to be present with what is, you are going to continually be dealt the same card over and over and over and over again until you can, I don't want to say prove to the universe, but until you can step into your power and own that situation and say, yes, I can be present with this too. The degree to which you allow yourself to feel your deepest, darkest pains, sorrows, sadnesses, etc., is the degree to which you will also allow yourself to feel your highest highs and your deepest sense of joy, fulfillment, and gratitude. So right now, divine surrender is your bread and butter. If you feel like some unexpected twists of fate are happening, maybe some, whoop, wasn't really expecting that, whoop, that was kind of uncalled for, any of that kind of business going on, just keep in mind that those are the types of things that generally lead us to the destiny that it is that we're actually seeking. It's just the world has its own agenda of how that's going to happen, and right now you're being encouraged to accept that agenda even though it might not be yours. I would also encourage you, my lovely Scorpios, to consider meditating on the Serenity Prayer. I don't care if you are religious or not, spiritual or not. The essence of the Serenity Prayer is grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change those things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I don't care who you are and what your beliefs are. If there are things happening in your life and you're like, shit, this is uncomfortable, I don't like this, I think there's something really powerful to be learned from those phrases. There are some things outside of you in your external reality that you just can't change, but the thing that you can always change is your perception of it, your relationship to it, and what you choose to do with it. Your reaction is completely in your control. And if you're struggling with this, I encourage you to reach out to me and I'm happy to help you through this process. Also, something to keep in mind with this card, tomorrow's a different day, offering different opportunities and different situations. So it's not like you're gonna have to sit with this forever, but it will keep coming up until you learn to sit with it. So right now you have a collection of opportunities that are available to you. What's here right now is temporary and it will not last forever. And my advice for you, especially if this applies more to business related things, projects, creativity, taking advantage of those, accepting any losses or disappointments that come as a result of that is going to teach you a lesson about something. Whether or not that's something you want to do is completely in your control and your choice. Again, you do have control and you do have power over a lot of things, even if you don't feel like you do. So accepting where you are and the opportunities that are available to you right now, in this week, in this day, in this very single fucking moment, that is where you're gonna find a sense of power. So my Scorpios, learn to lean into the joie de vivre, the temporary but beautiful thing that is this life, and know that when you surrender to something, it does not mean that it is forever. My lovely Sagittarians, I love Sagittarian energy. I pulled for you the beautiful card of Amazonite. This card is all about truth, revelation, disclosures, natural flow of events, and just overall, in general, finding some shit out. And what I would encourage for you based off of this card to do with this energy this week is to allow for the fluid evolution of this. Whether it's an opportunity or an unraveling of a relationship, of a job, a position, this process, this evolution is here for a purpose. There's a degree of rolling with the punches that might be really beneficial for you this week. The punches don't have to be bad, some of them can be good. The concept of revelation and truth at its most positive can be like the epiphany of like, oh fuck, that's what I want to do with my life, or oh, that's the path I want to take. On the flip side, it could also be the energy of people coming forward and disclosing things to us. Maybe they've been dishonest or they've lied, or maybe we find out about some deceitful behavior from people that we're close to. It can have negative and positive iterations. So this card is not meant to be a Debbie Downer, but this card is acknowledging this sort of like bing, like eyes open, light bulb moment, sort of a thing that might happen for you in this upcoming week. So to deal with that, you're being encouraged to let go and just let it fucking happen. If you are resisting it or you are afraid or you're like, I don't know, trying to hide from it, trying to keep yourself from finding out the truth, whether it's your truth or someone else's truth, just go with it. Just go with it, baby. At this point, you are here to learn something very strong. And one of the things I love about this card is that it also comes with a message that situations change when we change. Like nothing changes until you do. So if you are trying to understand what it is that you want out of life, but you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're falling into the same habits, and there's the same repetitiveness and there's this monotony, if you will, but you want something different, you got to start showing up different, hun. You got to start doing things differently, having a different mindset. If you're, sleeping in all the time, maybe start waking up early. If you're waking up early, crushing it, going to the gym, working super hard, and you never take time to just take a fucking rest, maybe that's what you need to do. Like whatever, if you do not like the results you have, whatever you're doing, just for the sake of exploring it, you can always try doing the exact opposite and seeing if anything changes. Not even the exact opposite, just trying something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Know that there isn't a right or a wrong way. There's only your way, and maybe the way that you've been doing things doesn't necessarily serve you, so you can shake it up. This is a card of exposures and disclosures, so if you don't change anything, you probably are gonna see very clearly this week what's not working for you and what you do need to change. And the things that you can't, let them go. The beautiful thing about balance is it's not gonna be this like all over here, all over there thing. Sometimes things have to have this evolution. I can tell you I've been all the way on one side where I don't plan anything, where I have just like the most free spirited life, whatever. I've also been on the other side where I'm super anal, super regimented, and the fluid evolution of my life was taking me from one extreme to the next until I realized that the middle ground is what serves me best. This may look different for you, but whatever situation you're in this week, my dear lovely Sagittarians, I would encourage you to allow this process to unfold so it can show you what you need to see so that you can adjust your life accordingly. All right, moving into Capricorn, my lovely Capricorns. I am a Capricorn sun, so I always love doing pulls for Capricorns. If you have Capricorn placement, sun, moon, or rising, your encouragement this week is to step into a state of harmonious connection. I pulled for you Lithium Quartz in reverse, and this card is all about peacefulness, joyful interconnectedness, and striving to encourage, instill, and practice cooperation over competition. There's also a really big encouragement with this card to just fucking allow life to be peaceful, you know? Now, cooperation doesn't necessarily have to be just with other people. This can also apply to a level of cooperation, synergy, harmony, whatever the hell you want to call it, with nature and with life in general. This is not just about humans. This might be something that you have a little bit of shadow work with. Maybe this is a little bit more challenging, but it's also an encouragement for you to turn this inward and look at yourself instead of looking at other people, blaming other people, etc. So right now, my fellow Capricorns, we're being encouraged to get back in touch with our bodies, our spirits, and honestly with nature. If you are struggling with this, if you're feeling like you are not as connected to yourself and to the world around you, there's a big encouragement to get out into nature, maybe take a tech detox. There is a holiday coming up, so if you can take some time away from work, from tech, even away from people. I know generally speaking, this is big family time for a lot of people, but taking at least a little bit of time to focus on nurturing that side of yourself that's a little bit more on the calm, peaceful side. Also, something to note with this card, Lithium Quartz kind of encourages us to do the opposite of overstimulating ourselves. Stimulation is great, don't get me wrong. It gets us engaged, it can be intriguing, it can give us creative ideas. My Capricorns, what you are probably in need of right now to create a little bit of balance for yourself this week is to avoid getting distracted by having too many things. It's fine to have like one or two, but as soon as you have like 3,068 going on at one time, your brain's gonna be going in 86,000 directions. So take some time out for yourself. This card is also an encouragement to be willing to trust that there's more than one day. There's more than one day to make things happen. Like, learn from nature. Jesus, how long does it take a tree to grow? It's not gonna happen overnight. Like, there's more than one day to make things happen. And there's also more than one way to think or to act. Right now, you're being encouraged to find a level of harmony within, not only within yourself, but like with the people around you. Like, they're gonna operate differently. They're gonna have different beliefs. They're gonna want to show up one way that maybe you disagree with. And as much as you want to overstep and, you know, point your finger at them and say, that's wrong, and there is no right or wrong. There's no right or wrong way. There is only your way and their way and her way and his way, and we're all different. So finding this almost like separation, this healthy separation of me and you and my beliefs and your beliefs, maybe they don't align, maybe they do, but focusing on the ways that you can connect and find a sense of harmony with the people and the world around you is gonna be so fucking important for you this week. And being pulled in reverse, this might also be a reflection of something that you need to do within yourself. Maybe there's a level of parts work. There's two different parts of yourself. Maybe there's the, I know this story very well, which is why I coach the people that I do now. Like, the part of you that's like, I want to be like type A, hard worker, always going, meh. The very Capricorn nature. And then there's the other side that's maybe like, I need to take a break. I need to rest. I need to recharge my batteries. I need to be creative. I need to flow a little bit more. Those two things are yin and yang. We do not, as a collective society, as a world, as Earth, like, we need both of those energies to be productive in any way, shape, or form. Otherwise, we're gonna either burn out or we're not gonna have any drive or desire to get anything done. So acknowledging that there's this, like, maybe the common foundation that these two parts of us have is that they want to feel fulfilled or successful or whatever. And acknowledging that there's a common foundation, a commonality either between different parts of ourselves or between ourselves and the people around us, or ourselves and the world around us. Also, with this card is an encouragement to maybe partner up with someone that brings strengths to the areas that maybe you're a little bit weak in, and you can do the same for them, you know, and vice versa. Whether this person is someone that you are directly going to incorporate onto your team, for example, let's say you're going to do a partnership or some kind of like directly cooperative event, or bringing someone else into your space, whether it's a coach, a therapist, a mentor, a trusted advisor, like someone you can bring into this space to help you find this level of balance, because we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and that's totally okay. And this cooperation, this bringing other people in to your experience and allowing other energies to help you create something might really help you move along through things this week. And if some people don't want to cooperate, you don't have to cooperate with them either. You can kindly say, no, thank you. I don't want to engage in competition. I don't want to engage in this, and disengage from that. But whatever it is, try to find a level of harmoniousness and peacefulness before you move forward. My lovely Aquarians, moving into your card pull. So if you have Aquarius in your chart, whether it is a sun, moon, or rising, I pulled for you the card of Apache Tears, and I pulled this one in reverse. Now, when I first got this deck, I felt like this card was the most auspicious card in the deck, because in the general interpretations, it says grief and letting go of grief. With that being said, I want you to hold on, I want you to listen to this, because it's not that dark. This card is all about releasing old pain, releasing old wounds, releasing the things that we don't need to carry any longer. If you've been carrying something, if you've been carrying a burden, a belief, a family pattern, a habit, an addiction, something that is plaguing you, right now, this week, you are offered such a beautiful chance to begin transforming that, or if you're in the process of it, to complete that process of transformation. The essential meaning of Apache Tears is releasing the past and the old pain so that those wounds can heal. If you're constantly digging it up, rubbing salt in old wounds, looking at it, trying to fix this, trying to fix that, and you don't give yourself the time and the space to genuinely let it go, it's never going to actually heal. And the body is incredibly talented at healing itself. So right now you have a beautiful opportunity for some really deep transformational inner healing to happen. There's also an implication with this card that there's an importance of having faith in something better coming your way. If you're in a position where you feel like I have lost everything, I have lost all hope, whether it was a partner, a job, a family member, whenever this card comes up, I would guess there's something in your life that has shifted in such a way that it feels like a loss. Like this thing that I previously had is now gone, and I have to suffer that pain of that removal from my life. And I am no stranger to this. I understand and have been through this as well, and it doesn't make it any easier. However, having faith that something better is coming your way, whether or not you can see it right now, that's really gonna help you through this week. And in having hope for the future, that in and of itself helps us to let go of the past. If we're blocking ourselves from believing that there's any semblance of a happy future that's even possible for us, then we are holding on to that old pain that, sure, it serves us for a time, but if you live your entire life holding on to old pain and you never let it go, you never have the opportunity to step into the things that you could have coming your way. Having been pulled in reverse, I also feel that maybe this thing that was taken from you has less to do with the outer world and more to do with yourself. Maybe there's something that you were once capable of that you're realizing now you are not. You're in a different season. Your body doesn't operate the same. Maybe there is an injury or a physical impairment or an accident or something that has taken away something that you feel is like uniquely yours. It's also possible that maybe an aspect of your personality is shifting or changing, or an area of your beliefs is shifting and changing. Maybe you always felt like something was impossible for you and you held on to that belief because it kept you from, stepping into your greatness, and now you are shifting that belief, and so that old version of you is gone or is leaving. And grief and loss doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, I lost all these good things. Like, it can also be letting go of things that are painful for you, letting go of these things that you don't need any longer. And the encouragement for you for this week is to allow yourself to grieve those losses. Allow yourself to let that energy flow through you, like literally flow all the way through you, out your fingertips, so that you can let go of it And there's an analogy with this specific card of like taking out the garbage, sweeping the doorstep, make room for a new fucking package to come your way. Whether or not you hated or loved the old package, you have to make room for the new one at some point. And right now, this week, you have a phenomenal chance, phenomenal opportunity, and the energy is very supportive for you for doing this. If you want to connect more strongly with this particular crystal, actually something that I recommend doing and I have done, is to purchase, if you can find like a store that sells crystals and rocks and whatnot, buy Apache tears, carry it in your pocket everywhere, and when you decide that you're done grieving that loss, when you decide you're done grieving that chapter, when you decide you're ready to step into something new, you can take that stone and you can bury it into the earth and symbolically feel all of that energy that you've been carrying that you no longer need being buried along with it. And she will take it into the earth or into Mother Earth, however you want to look at it, so that that energy can again be released from you, because you don't need to carry that pain forever. You don't need to carry it for the rest of your life. And if you've been carrying it for days, weeks, months, years, it doesn't have to be a part of your identity for the rest of your time here. So my lovely Aquarians, I'm sure there's been some things you've been working through. I'm sending you my love. If you want support in that process, please feel free to reach out. I would encourage you, and I would love it if you did. This card, again, as I noted, I used to think it was incredibly auspicious, and I always kind of had this like level of fear come up, but it's actually one of the most beautiful cards because it's telling you this doesn't have to define your life anymore. You can move forward when you decide you're ready, and this week it looks like you might be. So yeah, and only you get to make that decision, so I'm not here to pressure you. Beautiful. Succumb into the final card, my lovely Pisces. So Pisces, I pulled for you the card of Moonstone. This is such a Piscean card. My lovely Pisces, if you have a Pisces sun, moon, or rising, I'm a Pisces moon, so I vibe with this one. This card's all about your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner voice, all of that inner stuff that is, all that watery shit that's coming up for you this week. The encouragement for you with this card, do not dismiss your intuition just because you feel like you can't justify it. Don't do that shit. You don't need to do that. Your sixth sense is a sixth sense for a reason. It's not something that can be perceived by your other five senses. So if all of your logical mind, your physical reality is telling you something is one way, but your sixth sense is saying, no, it's that way, there is something that you are perceiving and you are picking up that those other senses cannot pick up. That's why it's called the sixth sense. So do not dismiss that this week. My lovely Pisceans, your relationships are going to benefit from your willingness to be honest. Honest with yourself, honest with other people. You don't need to dismiss yourself and the way that you feel 24/7 to win the approval or validation of others. Right now, you're being encouraged to stand in your own power and your own truth and your own knowing. For any of my Pisces who have wealth, finances, or business that's a little bit more top of mind, the encouragement with this card is to learn to respect your intuition about the ways in which you feel is best to acquire these things. One of the messages that comes directly with this card is that wealth exists to help us in the important work that we're here to do. This card is an encouragement for you to trust that the universe wants you to have the things that you want. It wants you to have the wealth that you need to build the things that you want to build. And it being the universe will guide you to acquiring those things. But that guidance, generally speaking, will come through the form of your intuition. Of course, intuition is not meant to, have you completely throw logic out the window. But if you have been throwing your intuition out the window right now, it's a time for you to stop and to start looking at your inner knowings, your inner insights, and to just trust where it's taking you. Because if you do, the way that you show up might be different. The actions that you take might be different. The things that you invest in might be different. And in that process of doing that, you may find that your path drastically shifts in your favor, in the direction that you want it to go to. But it's not as a result of hyper fixating on the results that you want, and it's not necessarily as a result of trying to force your way to it through logic or trial and error or whatever. It is through shifting so that you follow the intuition that you have that is crying out to you to be heard. If there's something in your life where you feel like you need to get more in touch with that intuition, but you're really struggling, you are of course invited to reach out. So that wraps it up for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I do these readings free of charge every single week, so if you would like to leave a donation, please feel free to. There's a link on my bio on Instagram as well as here on YouTube, so go ahead and follow that. And if you do not want to, of course, you do not have to. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!